Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie Jennings from EJSLLC.com. This video is another in my practice session series for the Red Hat Certified Specialist in Managing Automation with Ansible Automation Platform EX467 exam. Before I dive in, I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as invite anyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button and ring the bell when you do so you know when new content is available. Also, a reminder that these are my practice sessions for the exam. I'm going through all of the published objectives by Red Hat and either demonstrating the objective or explaining the concept behind it. And at the end of the video, I'll do a little self-assessment and hopefully I'll feel confident with the objective and feel ready to take on exam tasks related to it. Or I will not feel confident with the objective and note that I have just under a week to do a little bit of last minute filling of knowledge gaps and maybe brushing up and reviewing some stuff that I haven't touched in a while. That being said, these should not be considered tutorials, nor should they be considered training materials, nor should they be considered authoritative information. I do try to have the information accurate because hopefully at this point in my preparation, I have learned the information correctly. However, I'm still learning right along with all of you, so I would not consider this authoritative by any means. I do put these on the internet in hopes of people who are preparing for the exam might see some of the stuff that I do to prepare and get some ideas of things that they can do on their own. But again, these are not authoritative tutorials by any means. So moving along, we're going to look at the Manage Advanced Inventories set of objectives and look at Import External Static Inventories and Filter Hosts with Smart Inventories. So let me log into my control node. I'm going to go ahead and log in as an administrator. And the idea behind this Import External Static Inventories, I interpret that as, all right, so you have a project that has, an inventory file or an inventory directory that has multiple files and such, and you want that to be imported. So the way you would do this, you would set up your project, which I already have a project that I have synced with GitHub. And to create this inventory, we'll make one and we'll attach it to the project. We're going to use just add inventory. Smart inventory will come later. I'm going to call it inv project 2. I'll give this to the test org organization, even though it's not really going to matter for what we're doing. And then we're going to set up the inventory source. So I'm going to click add. And you have a couple of options here. Well, what I'm going to do is sourced from a project. I don't think these others are necessarily what they're looking for because it explicitly said external static inventories. And so I'm interpreting that as, all right, so you have your, YAML or INI inventory file for this. So I'm going to choose sourced from project. We'll give this a name. We'll call it project to env source. And if you want, you can specify a certain execution environment to use with this particular source, which I'm not 100% sure why you would do that. Kind of nice that it's there. But anyway, we have to tell it what project that we're wanting to sync from, and that will be project 2. Now this is going to complain, value was not found, please select a valid value. This is a bug. I don't know if there's actually a Bugzilla for it or not, but if you click anywhere else, that will go away. Now for inventory file, Ansible will try to look at the files that are in the project to guess, but if you don't see the desired inventory file here, you can always put in a path to it. And the inventory file within this project is in a directory called inventory, and it's hosts.yml. We can say set source path to host.yml. Now one thing I'm going to test, instead of source.yml, I'm just going to set the path to inventory and let's see what happens. Oh, you do have this update on project update. Not sure if I've tested that. I'm not going to really change the inventory, so I might test that on my own. And so we'll say sync the inventory source. Maybe that's when you would do it. Yeah, that would make sense. I think it was the maybe like update project with job template that wasn't working. There was something that I practiced before that didn't work. So we'll go back to sources and go back to hosts. Oh, good. it did what I wanted. So what it did, instead of just reading host.yml, which that's all I have in that directory, it tried to read everything that's in the directory, just like if I were to say, Ansible see it in the ansible.cfg file, telling it, hey, this is your inventory is in this directory. And so within my inventory file, I have configured a group of web servers, and in the group we have 2 hosts. And just to show how this actually looks, clear my screen here. Okay, inventory hosts, we see this is the inventory file that it is reading. So that's all well and good. Import external static inventories. I guess we can do, let's try this just to see what happens. Let me go back to my sources. We're going to, it was the update on launch that didn't seem like it worked. Launch being when you launch a job template. But I'm going to check update on project update. And let's put this to the test here while we're at it. So we're just going to add another host. So we'll add the controller as a host in the inventory. Usually I will be running get status in between these, but I'm just trying to be a little quick about it. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to the project and sync the project, and let's see if the inventory is automatically updated. In theory, it should be. If you want, you can do this refresh revision, and that should match the hash of your commit. So if I were to do git log 1503 A3FFF matches the beginning of the hash of that commit. All right, so let's go to our inventories. Inventory project 2, hosts, and yes, it was updated. We already have lab controllers, so we don't have to manually update the host. All right, so I think that covers the import static inventories. Now we get to smart inventories, and this is, it's not quite a dynamic inventory in the sense that you're querying Active Directory or AWS or vCenter or something like that to get your source. Rather, it is taking the existing inventory that you have, and you are creating, you're basically creating a dynamic inventory of the inventories that you have. Let's do add smart inventory. And I am going to name it Smart Test 1. Put this in the default or the test org. And then we have to give it a filter of some kind. Now what we can do, there are many different things that you can make this filter based off of, such as if I want to base it off of name, and let's say I want all filters that have node in it. Let's see if this will do what I want. Yep, so name contains node. I choose select and click save, and look at the hosts. We see that all of these hosts and the inventory that it came from was inventory project 2. All of those hosts are there. So if I were to, just for an example, this does not actually exist on my network. Let's say we add lab node 5. We'll resync our project. This is where the workflows that has the webhook, and we can run, like, kick off the project sync when a PR has come out versus me having to go in and manually sync the project. So if we go to inventories, what we should see within Smart Test 1 is the 5th lab node, which is nice. It's not quite dynamic inventories that you would traditionally think of, but it's a way of giving you kind of a real-time filter of the inventories you have. There is, I wouldn't, well, maybe this is a gotcha, but there is a gotcha with this. You can use, as I said, you can use all sorts of stuff, including Ansible facts. So what we need to do, I guess, to try to demonstrate this, I'm going to make a little playbook real quick. And this playbook is basically all it's going to do is gather facts, or that's all it's intending to do. Probably don't even have to do this. And get rid of that node that doesn't actually exist. Okay, and we're going to kick off a project sync. And while we are doing this, I'm actually going to go into settings, job settings, and I'm going to turn on some fat caching. Go to edit, and this is in seconds, so we'll do 600 seconds. And what this is going to do, you can turn on fat caching with your job templates, and basically in the database, the facts that are gathered for all of the inventory items that are hit by whatever that job template is will be cached. And so you can then use those facts for various other job templates. So if you wanted to potentially speed up execution of your job templates and workflows and such, you could set this to be, timeout after a day, and once a day you would set a job template to run that basically gathers all the facts from your inventory, and then those will be available to your job templates to use without having to explicitly gather the facts every time a playbook runs, or at least that's my understanding of how that would work. Now, of course, if you're doing that, then it's possible that your cache data will be expired. Like, let's say you were using a fact that is getting the current date time. Well, you'll have that from whenever it was cached. If you have this at 0, it basically doesn't save anything, but 600, that should be enough time to do. Well, let's do. Definitely should not need this much time. Let's do 7,200. We'll do our job template. Call it get the facts. We're going to use project 2's inventory. Using project 2, the playbook we're running is facts. Still have the credentials and such from a previous practice session. I'm going to check enable fact storage. And actually, before I run this, let me show you what the difference will be. So if I were to go to hosts, and we'll look at the controller. And if I look at facts, you have nothing there. So now let's run this job template. I expected that to have updated the inventory and got rid of lab node 5. But anyway, if I were to go back to the inventory, we see all of the Ansible facts that you would typically see. See that in JSON, or you can see it in YAML as well. So to get to the gotcha, let me go back to, let's make us a new dynamic inventory. And I'll demonstrate this. So Smart Inventory, test 2. And for our filter, organization. For our filter, we want to go to advanced, and the key that we want is Ansible facts. Now, refer to documentation for more information. I haven't seen this well done in the documentation, but, and we're going to see if I could get this to work. So if I want to do Ansible facts, normally you would have something like, let's just say distribution. That's how you would do your fact there. However, instead of the curly braces, what you must do are not two spaces, but 2 underlined spots. That is the same as your 2 curly braces. So I would do that plus distribution. I'm going to see if this will work. And we want that if it equals Red Hat. This should return everything, but let's see what happens. Nope, I did it incorrectly. So clear all filters, and we try again. And that also failed. Well, let me look at their little documentation. Yeah, see, this is their example with the 2 underscores. What's curious though is that it's giving both Ansible facts and what it is from setup module. And that is something that I will tell you is a weakness of mine. I'm used to doing Ansible facts and then drilling down from there rather than like Ansible distribution and all that kind of thing. Well, maybe there is better documentation than I thought. When I was first looking at this, it was not so much. But I'm not going to belabor this now. This is something, this is one of two things that kind of I was planning on focusing on for my last few days of preparation to get it in the front side of my brain, and that is working with our Ansible facts with dynamic inventories, because I have a feeling I'm going to have to do that on the exam. The exam tends to find things that I am generally weak in to do it. One thing I am curious though, we're going to try one more little test with this. I want to take a look at the facts that it has, because it's curious. We always hear about I can't remember off the top of my head the name of the type of fact variable this is versus Ansible facts, and you drill down with your, I use the square brackets, or you can use dots. You always hear about that. It's going to be deprecated one day, but that one day has never come. All right, it's distribution release. So Ansible _ distribution. I'm curious to see if that will work. Ansible _ distribution Red Hat. Because if so, that may be the better way of handling this. All right, so no, not add inventory. I want to add Smart Inventory. We'll do advanced, Ansible facts. That was what Ansible distribution. Okay, so that actually worked. That may be a better way of doing the facts. Because otherwise I would expect to do let's try this one more time. Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah, so I might have to do the Ansible facts that way. So that would be like, if I'm on the exam and I'm struggling with this, make yourself a playbook to gather the facts, store them, and then use that for your inventories. Either way, I need to do a little bit more work with that. So the assessment. So importing external static inventories, I think I have that. Basic filtering with Smart Inventories, I'm okay with. I need to practice some more with different Ansible fact combinations. Not that, the goal is memory with this, because that's really, in my opinion, not the goal with the Red Hat exams, but sometimes it helps to get some stuff kind of on the front of your brain. And like I said, that's one of two things that I was going to make sure I had on the front of my brain before going into the exam. The other is dealing with the API stuff. So probably not, definitely not a master of Smart Inventories, but I think I'm fairly well prepared to deal with inventories with a little bit of brushing up between now and the exam. So if you found the video useful, make sure you do click like. Feel free to share it with others. As always, thank you for watching another video if you're a returning subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber, make sure you do click the button and ring the bell when you do, so you know when new content is available. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you the next time.